Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. So today we've got Sean joining us. Sean's coming from Orlando, Florida. He's now 4.5 months sober. He's kindly agreed to come and share his story today. When's the last time you went 4.5 months without a drink, Sean?
The last time I believe was about 3 months, and it was probably about a year ago. It wasn't completely sober like I am now. I was still subsidizing with other little means of not being clear-minded. A lot of little pharmaceutical gummies, stuff like that. My
Mm.
mind was never completely clear like it is now.
So first time going 4.5 months totally sober.
Yes.
Awesome, man. Love it. So yeah, what we'll do, Sean, is we'll talk about your experience. So what life was like when you were drinking, how it's been since you've changed your perception, reframed alcohol, and then most importantly, talk about the great things that have been happening over the past 4.5 months.
Sounds good.
Awesome, man. So yeah, just fill us in. So what was life like when you were drinking? And yeah, just put us through an average day.
So I mean, I had a little bit of problem. I noticed I had a problem. I've talked about it openly for a couple years. I went to the point to where I literally fine-tuned it. I got it down to a science to where I needed to knew what I needed to drink to get where I wanted to be. It wasn't fun. I was never clear. I was never actually present, and it found that I was literally just erasing the day to get on to the next day. It didn't really do anything rambunctious. Pretty much just stayed at home. Other than that, it was same thing day in day out. Felt terrible at the end of the day. Felt terrible in the morning. My workouts were subpar. I never went as focused as I needed to be. Procrastinated on things. Never really went through with the activities that I really wanted to accomplish in life. So, that created a lot of anxiety because never things weren't really getting done because it was on like kind of like the back burner. Never really um, got to complete what I wanted to complete, and it was frustrating because I would always put a focus on getting a buzz on.
And then when that list starts increasing, and then there's all these projects and tasks, then that creates anxiety.
100%. Yeah, I was always anxious. I was always worried about, could people smell it on me? Did I look messed up? Was my face red? Could my significant other and friends know that I am at the point of intoxication that I am right now? It got to the point to where at some points I was trying to hide it and masked how much I was drinking. It was never in a crazy excess. I never really blacked out. That was when I was moderating my drinking, when I was trying to get it under control, which is the worst thing you can do. A couple years before that, it was much worse. It was to the point to where I would literally just wake up and then 4 hours went by and I would didn't know what I did or say.
So your drinking went bad 2 years ago, and then what happened the previous like the next 2 years?
So yeah, it got to the point where it was a little out of control. So I went ahead and decided to quote unquote work on my drinking. So instead of, drinking it to excess consistently, I kind of figured out how much I needed at a point to where I was still, borderline functional throughout my day. I didn't usually drink until um, after work. Although on my days off, I would tend to sometimes have a beverage in the middle of the day. And then sometimes that creates 2 days because, you have a couple beverages. Sometimes you have one extra and then you go ahead and take a nap, wake up, do it again. So that was kind of thing. So the days were still productive. I made an excuse out of it. Like that's pretty much all drinking is. You make an excuse, you have a bad day, have a drink. Have a good day, have a drink. Go out with friends, have a drink. Go swimming, have a drink. Play video games, have a drink. Everything was an excuse to drink, and it was just frustrating. And that kind of began when I was in my 20s. All your friends, all they wanted to do was go out and drink. You want to play Mario Kart on the TV, have a drinking contest. Whoever loses, have a drink. Same thing. It was just an excuse to get messed up, get inebriated, and then sure, it was fun, but how taxing was that on my life overall over, the decade and a half that I was doing this?
Yeah, was there a point where you realized, oh, I can't keep doing this anymore?
100%. And I had talked about it for a couple of years about how I know I have a problem. I openly admitted that, I pretty much an alcoholic or borderline alcoholic. I didn't use the word functioning alcoholic because I think that's kind of silly. That's just an excuse that you give yourself that it's okay to drink. And, alcohol is one of those drugs that it's the one drug that won't let you know that you have a problem. It makes you think that you don't have a problem.
Oh yeah, 100%. So then you were trying to moderate yourself and manage it. Were you trying anything else?
What do you mean by anything else?
Any other programs, any other methods, medications, or anything?
No, I talked to a lot of people that had stopped drinking. I asked them what did they do, and then their excuse, not their excuse, their reasoning was I just kind of just stopped. One day I just had enough and I stopped. And I did that. That's when I had that little 3 month stint where I didn't really drink. But I was messing around with, you go to the smoke shop, get those little gummies here and there, you get little weed pens. So I was still supplementing for it. I wasn't completely sober, so I still in fact wasn't actually present.
Mm.
My mind was altered, and I never really had normal Sean conversations. I wasn't really that open. I was still anxious, hiding something, and insecure in a sense because you're always thinking you're kind of paranoid in a sense.
Yeah, so you were because you still kind of saw alcohol as something that would add something to your life. You found a replacement, and then you were just using willpower. So just switching it around.
Yeah, so I ended up stumbling across your videos on, I believe it was a YouTube short, one of your my intoxicated doom scrolling sessions where you just sit there and flip through shorts for hours and hours. And then I watched a couple videos, and then I ultimately I talked about it that I saw your video, and then a lot of it just started to make sense. And then I saw one where you mentioned the program, and then one day my now fiance said, "We need to get this under control. We need to stop this. You can't keep doing it. You're never here. You're never present." And it was a fact. I had been talking about it for a couple of years, and it was about time to make that change. I didn't go visit anything like AA. I kind of just talked to friends, got ideas, and then ultimately I was like, I'm going to try this. It doesn't matter what it costs. It doesn't matter what people think. And ultimately, no one really knows that I did it except for close friends and family. And that's kind of the best thing. And now people are just now starting to notice. It's been about 4.5 months. They're like, oh, Sean's face looks better. He's a lot more fit. He's a lot more focused. And they're realizing there's been a shift, especially when I say no, when they ask me to come out and drink, or when I do go out and drink and I don't drink, when they go out and drink with them and I don't drink, they're like, oh, that's weird. I remember you were a party guy, passing shots around, pounding beers every minute. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have this sparkling water now. Of
Mm.
course, there's some peer pressure. There's some things, they're always trying to egg on. They're like, oh, quitting is for quitters. That's why I don't, that's why I still drink. And I just keep, I amuse them, be like, that's great. Now I'm on a different path, and it's significantly better. And I'm still going, still moving around, moving along.
So what was like the final straw for you to say, I actually need to take action and do something? Can you remember? Was it the conversation with your fiance or something else?
Yeah, that was the main factor. Ultimately, I have been self-reflecting. I do see people that I work with, and I do see how they are. I see the position that they're in, and they had a lot of habits that I had. Go home, drink, whether they have a cigar or they're smoking something, or they just get completely inebriated. And the next morning they look and they feel like they did.
Mm.
And then I was just like, I can't be stuck in the same situation. I can't be stuck in the same job. I can't just keep being, as some people say, an NPC. Can't keep going around this world, not achieving my goals, trying something different. And that's what I did. And ultimately, I think it's going to make me a better human in the long run. And it's going to not just lift myself up, it's going to lift the people that I love up, and it's going to lift my family up. Hopefully, I can end up spreading this to
Mm.
more people and helping them in a way
Yeah,
based
I love
off of
it.
how I go ahead and evolved.
I think you just played it out, right? You saw where it was going and you realized if I continue on this path, I'm never going to be the person I wanted to be.
100%. On top of that, you get a lot of negative thoughts in your mind. I'm sure people that have been drinking have had those negative thoughts. Um, uh, it's not fun to have those. It's not fun to kind of predict what's going to happen. One day that am I just going to get tired of it, and all of a sudden I've got a weapon to my face. Or if I wake up in the morning and I am not awake, I'm in a different reality. I don't know what happens after life ends, but you never know. One day I could just not wake up, or I could do something stupid and go driving.
Mm.
That's one thing that I did a good job of not doing when I went ahead and had my little fun at the end of the night or on my days off. I did my best to not drive. And the worst thing about it is that there's a gas station a 5 minute walk from my house. So, there was no excuse for me to not have my alcohol. So
Mm.
I would just walk over there.
So I think you were kind of in a place where you were ready, and then your wife was like a big catalyst. Was there like any fear or hesitation before actually reaching out and asking for help?
No, it was time. It was time. I was time 2 years ago. I actually talked to my mom about that. I let her know that I had a problem. I gave her a call and she said, yeah, do it. And she was kind of like my sponsor for it in a sense, so that I didn't have to, have any financial burden on it or have any kind of thing. She's like, whatever you need to do, we'll back you up. Just get done what you need to get done. And then, yeah, I had the support and that's all I needed was a little bit of support, a little bit of push, and then a final move to make the call. The hardest thing is kind of making the call, making the first leap. It's some people it's demoralizing. It's a sign of
Mm.
weakness, but ultimately it's not. The weakness is to continue drinking. And that's what I've been telling myself for months and months and months before I made the move. And it was just time. Every single day, just constantly spending money. That's another thing. I had it down to a science to the point to where I knew how much I needed to drink. I knew how much it would cost. And it was kind of like a schedule. It was like a prescription, basically, a prescription for a lack of motivation, bad health. And it was one of the worst prescriptions I could have ever went ahead and com kept doing every single day.
Yeah, but it sounds like there was a bit of you had to take like a quite a big leap to actually reach out in the first place. You were ready, but then to actually pull the trigger, it's like your ego gets involved. Like, do I really need help? And then you just said, screw it.
100%. Just took the leap. I said it needs to be done. And it was honestly top five best things I've done in my life.
Heck yeah.
And without a doubt, I wouldn't go back and do anything else. The results that I've seen, just in life, physical, mentally, and yeah, it's been fantastic.
Love it. So we got started working together. You went through the first half of the program. Once you finished that, what was different to previous attempts?
It put it in perspective. And then before your program, I was watching a lot of videos, a lot of self-help. People might know a couple of those people online. You got the Robert Petersons, I believe Andrew Huberman, I believe his name is.
Mm-mm.
I might be saying that wrong. But they went ahead and explained it, and then you went ahead and explained it, and you broke it down to the point to where it's science. It's all science, where it's terrible for you. And on top of that, you look at it, it's everywhere. It's in advertisements, it's on billboards, it's on commercials, it's on TV shows. It's nonstop pushed. And there's a big reason for that. And not to get too, philosophical or religious or anything like that, or throw any kind of a government thing into it or conspiracy theories, but ultimately it's there's a reason why it's legal. There's a reason why they push it. It dulls our senses. It keeps us from producing as a human. It prevents us from growing, keeps our mind foggy. And that was just the last step. The last step needed to go ahead and join your program. You broke it down fantastically. It was it just hit the nail right on the head.
Thanks. That's awesome to hear. Can you remember the moment when everything clicked for you, where you were like, it's done, it's finished?
Yeah, I would say probably around month two. Like to this day, I still think about alcohol. When I drive by the gas station, I'm like, oh man, I'm so glad I'm not stopping here again. All
Nice.
these little pit stops here and there were just very frustrating because and then someone asked me the other day, are you ever going to drink again? Do you want some? Oh, it's holiday season. Do you want some coquito? A lot of Hispanic people pass out the coquito when during the holidays, and I was like, no, I'm not going to have any of that. And she's like, really? I thought you liked it. And I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to have any more alcohol. She goes, really? I'm like, yep, for the rest of my life, probably. And she hadn't known. She was one of my closer friends at work and outside of work, so. She was a little shocked. I'm sure I'll be having some questions from her in the near future because she just found out yesterday, I believe. And yeah, I don't foresee me having anything, hopefully for the rest of my life. I do have a wedding coming up. I plan on doing that sober. I don't know if I'm going to do it California sober, but I'll probably just be, have fun, dance around, maybe take a little bit of pre-workout to get a little pump, some Celsius, water, stuff like that. So it'll be an experience because, at weddings, most people just get completely plastered for some reason it's a joyous moment, but you do everything you can to not remember it the next day.
Yeah, that's what you said about the gas station is awesome because usually when people stop drinking, they see alcohol and they're like, "Oh, I just wish I could have a drink." But it sounds like it's switched for you where it's like a feeling of relief, like, "Thank God, I don't need to do that anymore." That's nice.
Yeah, 100%. It was always in the back of your mind. You're always thinking about it. It's just that one extra thing that you're always thinking about. You wake up thinking about it. You're at work thinking about it. You want to leave work early because you want to go ahead and get some booze. You want to take a day off because you want to just get plastered twice throughout the day, take a nap, and do it again.
Yeah, so let's talk about what's been happening, Sean, like over the past 4.5 months. So yeah, what where would you say you've seen the biggest gains in what area of your life?
Well, self-help mainly. It allowed me to complete tasks that I had ultimately been putting off. Now, I'll be transparent with that point that I did feel very overwhelmed when I stopped drinking because there were so many things that I wanted to get done, so many things that I've been putting off, so many things that I wanted to do. Whether it's little hobbies here and there, gardening, fix up the house, cancel those subscriptions I was paying for so long that I just haven't bothered calling to cancel.
Mm-mm-mm.
And on top of that, working out, there is into science that drinking alcohol inhibits muscle growth. I think it was, I would say conservatively 45%. And I knew about it. I never really took heed to it. But I'll tell you what, the amount of weight that I've lost, the amount of muscle that I've gained, my physical physique, not just in my face, my body, my hips, everything's changed. And it's just been drastic, very, very drastic. And it feels good looking yourself in the mirror, looking at your eyes, not having to make sure if you smell bad, not having to make sure if you still have crusties in your eye when you leave the house, all those things that everyone's self-conscious about. You wake up, you look good, your clothes fit better, you have more energy. On top of that, I'm going to bed earlier. I'm waking up earlier, and ultimately that's fun. Wake up, I get more stuff done before the sun rises than most people do in a day. So it's very, very helpful. And yeah, physical fitness, mental health, personal gains, trying to study, self-help. Um, that's pretty much what I've become. Just trying to be a better person, better human, nicer. I noticed that too, is that I am considerably more nicer. I'm calmer,
Mm-mm-mm.
and overall, just overall confident, a lot more confident.
I get goosebumps because it took me back to like the first few months. I remember it as well. And it was like this rush of like, oh my days, I'm back. I can do all those things I've wanted to do. So I know what you mean about it being overwhelming at the beginning, but it's kind of like a nice feeling because you can just go for it.
100%. And I had mentioned this during some of the biweekly Zoom calls that we would have during your program. And I would mention, I feel like it's been 5 or 6 months when it was actually been 2 months, because time does go a little bit slower because I'm not just wasting my day at the end of my day, because your days kind of just go very fast. You have that third, that fourth drink, then all of a sudden you're in bed. Then you wake up. Your first half of your day is a haze, and then you get through it, and then you start doing it again, rinse and repeat. You're never actually present,
Mm.
and it became very frustrating, not just for me, but for my loved ones. And it's nice to have that weight off my shoulders.
Yeah. And how's it been with your fiance? Because it was big for her for you to stop. So what has she made any comments? What does she think?
Oh, 100%, 100%. And she loved me before that. She still loves me now. I also noticed that it's kind of like a chain reaction. It's like me stopping has also made her a better person, because she's not upset with me. She's not worried about me. She has improved her life as well around me, which is awesome to see. Now we're only 4.5 months in. Now you think 4 years down the road, how much will we accomplish? What will we grow to be? What will I grow to be? Am I still going to be doing the same thing? Am I still going to be in this house? Is it going to be a bigger house? So it's just kind of like one day at a time. I do track my days a little more. I kind of use a calendar more, a little more organized, a little more structured, which is nice. So it's fun. It's fun. It's actually enjoyable.
Yeah, and that's like an awesome thing that happens that people don't realize. But because you've stopped and you've raised your standards and you're setting a better example to everybody around you, some people are just going to be like, "Yeah, I need to get on what Sean's on." So that's nice that it's happened to your wife.
Yeah, it's nice. It's very nice. It's fun. It's exciting because I technically was the one that was holding this back.
Mm,
which sucks to say, sucks to do around people that you love. But the fact that you allow this little beverage to run your life and run
mm,
the people around you's life, and just every day was just drink, drink, drink. And now it's not. Now it's I guess you could say think, think, think. You're constantly thinking on how to be better. You're constantly trying to, what's the next thing I need to do today? What book do I want to read in the future? What's my exercise like? Which is interesting because I actually look forward to my exercises to the
mm.
point to where like I'll go to bed earlier than I ever did. Like some days I'll close my eyes at 9:30 at night. Usually I'd be up till 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Mm.
And that's always because the intense amounts of, sugar and additives and from the alcohol.
Yeah. So imagine, Sean, imagine you've got somebody there that was in your position 4.5 months ago, where they're thinking of getting help, but they're like a little bit reserved, a little bit scared. They're not quite sure. What would you say to that person?
I would say think of yourself 10 years down the road. Do you want to keep doing this? Do you want those regrets? The longer you wait, the longer the lasting effects are going to be. Not only the fact that you are preventing yourself from improving in life, but you are in direct correlation hurting people around you. So that first step is the hardest. And I'll be transparent. I was ready to stop. So
Mhm.
the cold turkey was no problem. Some people might have issues, and some people might have a drink here or there, but ultimately one step at a time. If it takes you a month to completely stop, but you went from 6 days a week to 3 days a week, that's a win. And then ultimately you'll realize, man, those 4 days that I didn't drink that with this week were fantastic. Now I go to 2 days, now I go to one day, and then all of a sudden you don't have alcohol in the house ever. You go out to parties, you go out to see friends and family, you don't have alcohol. There'll be some questions, but ultimately you're going to be surrounded by people who are like-minded, which is the one way to grow. Surround yourself with like-minded people. You surround yourself with people who don't want to drink, who want to stop drinking, who want to help you, who want to lift you up. Ultimately, it's the same thing in business, same thing in life. You want to surround yourself with people you want to be like. And it keeps it's like the train effect. Once that first car goes through the station, the next car is going to follow. You're going to keep finding ways to surround yourself with people that make you better.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing that you're saying is you have to be ready and you have to want it.
100%. You don't want to do half measures. If you do half measures, you're just going to slide back. There are some people who can just quit cold turkey and they just keep doing their lives. There are people that need help. They need a support group. Alcohol affects everybody differently. It's similar to like I'm going to quote this gentleman that's on our meetings. His name's Scott. He goes ahead and says it's like he's allergic to alcohol. Alcohol affects everybody differently. For me, if I have alcohol, I can't stop.
Mm,
And that's kind of how I was. It's not just one beer, because one beer turns into four beers. Four beers turns into a trip to the gas station to get another one. Then
mm,
all of a sudden I'm inebriated and I feel like terrible the next morning.
mm, mm. Yeah. And what would you say to somebody that's thinking about doing the Soberclear program specifically, not just general help, but Soberclear?
I would say it's a great alternative because some people will go to the AA meetings, and I feel I've had some research and I've had some people say that it's actually kind of counterproductive. Um, it's kind of like that's kind of like in some sense a half measure. But for the Sober Clear program, it starts off fantastic. You break it down all the way to the science, to the molecular level, to the chemical level, and then you provide it with a perfect roadmap. And then you go ahead and allow a support system with people on Zoom. You have bi-weekly Zoom calls. You have people that you can constantly talk to, people that are lifting up. And it's very, very positive. It's very positive. There's very little negative, and there's always tips and tricks not only when it comes to stopping drinking, but how to improve your life as well. Because everyone changes. It's a consistent pattern. I notice in the group chats that people not only stop drinking, but they improve their lives in other ways. A lot of it is through health and fitness.
Mm,
And
mm.
that's one way that does keep you off of it because if you start drinking again, all those gains that you got physically and mentally, they start to go away.